So let's first create a lesson 4 branch to work from there. Git checkout branch lesson 4, and in this branch let's push this branch to origin, and we're going to create a V1 release. To be able to upgrade our chain, as we saw in the slides, we'll need the upgrade and the governance module from the SDK. So to do that, we'll have to go to our app.go and get the corresponding imports. Here we're going to add a governance keeper type go keeper dot keeper, and also we'll need an upgrade keeper of type upgrade keeper dot keeper. Let's get these imports. The governance, we'll get it from Cosmos SDK /gov/keeper. And for the upgrades, you will see if we go to the Cosmos SDK repo and look into the available modules, you will see that the upgrades one has its own Go mod. So we have to import this package. So we should do a go get Cosmos upgrade, and in the meantime we can import here the keeper, and this is going to be our upgrade keeper. Upgrade keeper. Upgrade keeper. There we go. Let's format this. And now we also will need some other governance type, governance client to wire up. So let's get those imports. So we'll need the gov module and the gov client, and the gov types. Gov types. And for this, also for having registered the protos, the module protos, for the dependency injection, we'll need to import this for side effects, same as we did with the others. Let's fix this. And what we have to do to complete the warning of the governance module is adding here our gov types module name and the new app module basic, and add here the governance client to handle the proposals for the params client proposal handler. And we need to add this params client to our imports. Here is params client. New app module basic. This is basic. Legacy proposal handlers. This is legacy used for previously each of the modules didn't have its own params. it was managed by a params module, and in order to edit this params module, we'll need this proposal handler. And then we'll have here to add the new keepers that we included, app.gov keeper and the app.upgrade keeper. And then the next step to finalize this is adding here the corresponding modules for the two that we included, the governance and the upgrades. So let's do that. Going to do it before our custom module. So we're going to have here the governance. This is going to be under Cosmos Gov module 1, and the same for upgrades. And you will see an upgrade has also its corresponding module proto, and the Cosmos upgrade module v1. Module v1. And the next thing is to include here the begin blockers and the end blockers. For example, the upgrades package is going to have a pre-blocker. You see that here Signals has a pre-blocker. So, and the pre-blocker should be somewhere around here defined. You see the keeper has a pre-blocker. So here, as we are defining the begin blockers, the end blockers, and the init genesis orders, we'll have also to add the corresponding pre-blocker. So here we'll say pre-blockers, the upgrade. It's the only one that had a pre-blocker. And the same for the governance. The governance is going to have an end blocker. And we'll have to add them for the init genesis, because these have also an init genesis. As you can see here as genesis. So let's add them in here. We're going to have the governance and then the upgrade genesis in that order. And that should make it work. Let's try it out. So let's first install the binary with the latest changes. Let's see if everything compiles. You can check if the version responds. There seems to be something missing. Gov module account has not been set. Okay, yes, in here, the app YAML, you will see that we have these permissions for module accounts. We'll have to add the burner permission for the governance, because when a governance proposal is voted no with veto, that's one of the options for the voting. There's a deposit that has to be deposited for proposal to start the voting period, and if this proposal is voted no with veto and that's a final decision, the deposit will be burned. So we need to grant the permission to burn these coins to the governance module. So let's try now again, make install. And try a command, permissions, Let's try it again. PSD version now seems to be okay, and we can run a making it because it's going to have different modules. So we'll have to create the store. So we need to start a new Genesis. So we'll initialize again the chain, make init. As you can see now, we should have the params corresponding for the governance. As you can see, governance proposal, governance module, sorry. And we have some params for the max deposit period, the voting period, the quorum required, and the threshold for each of the proposals. Here we should edit this for our testing. The voting period is about like 5 days. So for us to make the corresponding test, we want the voting period to end within a few seconds so we can make proposal pass while doing our tests and not having to wait so long. So to do this, to edit the different defaults, we have to edit the Genesis. One way to do this is in our init script. Before initializing, we can edit our Genesis to have the corresponding voting period that we want. So let's define what the Genesis file will be sitting. It's going to be by default on the home.rpsd and say the config and genesis.json. And after we add these Genesis accounts, then actually we can add here the corresponding commands to update the governance params, the voting period for local testing. So for this, we're going to use the sed. If you're using Mac, adding the back will work for you. And then we're going to look for the voting period that equals, we're looking for this exact string. So this is going to be updated with a voting period of 10 seconds, and let's add here the G for global, and this will edit the gen file. And there's also an expedited voting period introducing the Cosmos SDK v0.50 that should be always lower than the voting period. So here you have the default one. This is the default, and we want it to be 5 seconds in this case. And let's see now if that fixes what this situation. Let's make an init that will run this init. And now let's check our Genesis, RPSD, config Genesis, and voting period 10 seconds, we're good. And expedited voting period 5 seconds. Okay, let's edit it properly. And we can now start the chain and see if everything was working. Okay. Everything seems to be working as expected. We should have now here the governance, transactions, and queries. We do help. we have here the corresponding commands for submitting proposals, voting, depositing, making the deposit. Everything's working as expected. So now that we have this chain that can be upgraded with these modules, we'll create our first version, and then we are going to propose an upgrade to fix our RPS module to use the commit and reveal protocol for NAS proposal. So let's create the release. Let's first push these changes to our lesson 4 branch. So let's git add git commit message add governance and upgrade module, and let's push this to our lesson 4. And now we can create a release for our chain. That's going to be, we have to go to our repo, and then here you can create a new release in the releases section, and we're going to choose a tag to be v1, create it because it's not existent at the moment, and we are going to create it from lesson 4. That's the latest changes that we submitted, and this is going to be v1, and here you can add a description of the release. Usually you keep a changelog in this type of projects where you have all the changes from version to version, and in here you can make reference to it. But in our case, we're just having to small changes, so we're not keeping this changelog or not opening PRs. So let's just describe here. This is the first version of the rock paper and C source chain, and we can publish the release. Now it's, and then we can pull the created tag from origin tags. We have our new tag there, and then in our make file, the version we can use to use the tags for the version tags. Always remove this, and when we do, what this does is picks up the tag if it exists. It's going to be v1, so when we do make install and we query rpsd version, we should get the v1 version.